Hi, folks. Thanks, SixFourTrading. Happy Passover. It is April 13th, 2025. We have some information. We had Trump capitulating to allowing an exemption for chips, which sparked conversation that there's going to be a huge rally coming up on Monday, and Apple's going to do well, and all these other major chip stocks are going to do well. This is what we have going on right now in the futures market. Let's zoom in here on the NQs first. In the futures market, we have, let's get back to the weekly, let's go back to the daily chart. The market kind of gapped up a little bit, but selling off, right? So originally, I'm gonna turn my indicators on. We're trading indicators. We had this signal to sell here and get into the cloud, right? So we had this signal from all-time highs to get out, go short. Did that. Then we had oversold indicators telling us, okay, maybe cut the short, take some profits, and maybe possibly go long here into this line. So we created this area here back to go retest the 200 SMA, which we did. Now, typically when you come down and break below for the first time with 200 SMA, you want to just expect it to retest. Doesn't have to, but there's an expectation that that it's probably going to go back and retest it. It did that. It rejected it. That's bearish. So first bearish maneuver was breaking below the 200 SMA. Bearish maneuver number one. Let's add to that confluence of the retest rejection, right? Got a short indicator here to go low. That's the second addition to the confluence of a bearish trend. Then you have this, the death cross, which we've been talking about. Then you have this trend line, right, that are rejected, that's trying to come back into. So there are very strong indicators that you're going to go into a deep bear trend. Don't think that because, yes, we shorted here, came down, added back in here, came down, this market move, you got your oversold, you got to pop back up. Don't think that this is going to go like this. Now, it could. I'm not saying it can't. I don't know everything. I'm just reading what the charts. I'm a technical analyst. This is what I do. So this is moving back up. And you have a lot of resistance here. You have a support, you have a resistance area now because it's underneath and it's rejecting it. You have a trend line that's been resisting, right? It's underneath it. You have a death cross. You have a lot. You need something major to break this above. You need a major catalyst, not just easing up on some exemptions for chips. That's not going to do it. It's not, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. So this is where we are. Okay, on the NQs. Now, if this was going to be something major with that news, I would have expected a major gap up and I would expect this to be up, not selling off and rejecting this line and moving the way it's moving right now. So let me show you something. This is the 30-year, this is the 10-year yield, right? And so the yields, they're not open right now, but the yields have, well, actually this one is open right now. 10 years open. Where is the 30? Should be kicking in. Yeah, they're open now. Here we go. So they're holding. They're not dumping down like this. They're not selling off. They're holding where they are. Okay. This could come down and release some pressure on the markets. Not sure at this point, but we have to wait and see. But they're still up here. You don't want your yields up here. We have a pull down, and this could be flagging for a move up or a gap. This is a move up, reversal, and before you go higher, the ABCD format, right? We're watching out for that. The other thing is gold. Gold is at all-time highs, and it's just screaming right now. Even on this session, it pulled down, but it's going back up. We're creating what we call like a hammer, right? This could move up a lot higher. Let me show you the other thing. This is a problem. They're dumping, whoever's doing this is whoever is dumping the dollar and buying gold. They're just dumping it, the US dollar, and buying gold. This is coming down and not going up. We have a problem. So when I start looking at this and hearing the news, you would need the dollar, gold, yield, all of that needs to turn a different direction, which means confidence is moved back into the U.S. equities or U.S. bond market, and this thing could move up. That's what I'm saying. It's not enough to just say I'm easing up on certain things when you still have tariffs on the world, and the world is like, they're behaving as if they just don't care. And they're saying enough is enough, right? Whatever that means. Now, right or wrong, I'm not saying who's wrong about tariffs, right about tariffs, but they're just tariffs, and they cause a strain on the economy, anyone's economy, and that's reality. And the markets are seeing this, and the markets are reacting to it. Then there's recession talks, which I personally believe we're already in a recession. So let's take a look at Apple. Since that's the talk of the town, is that Apple's going to do well because of it, and they might. What do you see here on Apple that, Frank, the death cross, my indicators trigger the death cross on Apple. Right here. It's all the way down here, right? We move up, we got some gaps to fill. Now, all gaps, there's a rule, got to get filled at some point. Doesn't mean they got to get filled now. There's a gap right here. All right, gap. Now, that's from 208 to 221. If I could see Apple running and rallying off of that, it may go up, hit this 208, and then run straight into the 221. I think that between here to 221 and 200-day moving average, I think that's where it slows down and stops, in my opinion. But I do think investors may just jump in here and push this all the way up to 221. You might get a big green candle on Apple tomorrow. It's looking like it. I mean, it's primed for it. You got a gap that needs to be filled. I think once you fill this gap, watch out for rejection and come down lower. So we'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. I mean, you got some oversold indicators, of course, the same stuff, the same situation as the S&P 500, as the NQs, all of those things. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. The S&P is respecting this out, about to do a death cross. Now, I think this death cross is going to trigger on Monday. Definitely on the triple Qs. The triple Qs is like right on the cusp of it when I show you that one. But we've been rejecting the 618s on the fibs from the retracement from the bottom down here at 480s on the S&P 500. We've been respecting this area. There is a gap above that needs to be filled still. Now, we may get that gap filled if Apple runs up and pulls the market up with it. We do have a little bit of gap up on the ES, probably like around here. We may fill this gap, but I think we fill this gap and we go back down. There is a trend line. If you don't understand trend line, support and resistance lines, links in the description. I have like 2 different courses. One's a quick start, one's a full deep dive course that's really good. We'll explain that and a whole lot more, candlesticks and things like that. But anyway, we have a trend line here. And we have a 50, a death cross area with a 200-day moving average and a 50-day moving average. Now, trying to break above that, you're going to need a whole lot of catalysts that are legitimate catalysts that are amazing to break back above those 2 moving averages at the specific time. But I do think, as I said last week, we'll probably go fill this gap and then we'll reject somewhere in this area and then come back down. So the triple Qs, like I said, we're very close, if not there. When you wake up, this will probably trigger tomorrow morning at the open for the death cross on the triple Qs. And there see a gap. So the little bit of gap here got filled already. So there's no gap. Let's go ahead and SPY again. There is that gap still needs to be filled. Triple Qs doesn't have a gap up to fill. So I think that Apple could push this up, but you're going to need days of upside to stop this, or you're going to need a massive green candle beyond off the screen to stave this off. So you're going to hit this death cross most likely tomorrow, probably at the open. In any case, this is the triple Qs. Same scenario. I think we just move up with the SPY, probably the Apple or whatever, maybe even retest the 200 SMA, and at this point, the 500 SMA, and then break below. So this is the market. This is what I'm looking at tomorrow. Is what I'm looking at for this week. This is earnings season, so we have to watch out for a lot of that as well. And, you know, depending on how the outlook and guidance is from the earnings, it could change the direction of the market or add to more of the predictions and analysis of downside, because a lot of people, they're saying, are going to be pulling your guidance, and pulling your guidance is not good for a company, because that means you're just uncertain, and there's uncertainty around the market. So hey, SixFourTrading, hope you guys get something from this. Just, you know, be patient with your trading. Don't just jump into anything. Don't believe the hype. Don't listen to the media. Do your own DD. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.